What up, what up, what up? I'm your host, Luke Hanna. It's currently February 2nd, 2022, and welcome to the debut episode of the Millennial Playbook Podcast. Now, I'm very excited for this journey that we're about to be taking together, and I'm hoping you're going to come back here every week and visit me and learn all your sports news. Now, considering it is the debut podcast, I figured I'd tell you guys a little bit about myself. Now, I was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I'm currently residing there today. And as you can tell, I'm a big sports fan. I got that way through my grandfather being a huge IU basketball fan through the Billy Knight era, and as well as a Chicago Cubs fan, who had me rooting for guys like Derek Lee, Alfonso Soriano, Carlos Zambrano, Aramis Ramirez, those dudes, who I considered the good guys. My mom and dad both also had a love for the Indianapolis Colts, which is where I found my love for the Indianapolis Colts. But no team can beat anything for me other than the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers are my all-time favorite team of any sport, and they will be. Grew up watching Paul George, Danny Granger. Missed the Reggie Miller era, but that's okay. We've got a lot of good guys that have come through there. I'm also a student at Full Sail University, getting a degree in sportscasting hosted by Dan Patrick. They have a really good program down there, and props to Dan Patrick and Gus Ramsey for doing everything they've done for me. Thank you so much. Well, with that being said, there's a lot to talk about, so let's get down to business.
So we gon' fight till the sun goes down. We'll try the best that we can.
Where am I going to start, you might ask? How about the best postseason in NFL history? Yeah, that's right. We're talking the final games for both Ben Roethlisberger, a great for the past 2 decades, and also probably the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. Not to mention 8 games being decided by a single possession, 4 of those being game-winning field goals, and there being 2 overtime victories. We also had one of the greatest finishes of all time in the Bills-Chiefs game that I'll tell my kids about once they're born. And also a Cinderella story like no other, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. So without anything else, let's get to the games. Let's start it off over in Arrowhead with Joe Burrow and the Bengals coming in and defeating the Kansas City Chiefs 27-24 on a field goal in overtime by none other than Evan Shooter McPherson. This dude has been on fire recently. In his rookie season now, including the postseason, he has 5 winning field goals. 3 of them have been in the last 5 weeks, and 2 of them have been in the postseason, 2 of them against the Chiefs. This dude is on fire, and this game, it was a good game all the way to the end. First half, though, was all Kansas City. Their largest lead in the first half got up to 21-3. And Patrick Mahomes, he was a magic man. He had a few miracle escapes, including one in the early second quarter where he was able to escape when his O-line couldn't give him any help, and he found Travis Kelce in the end zone for a 13-yard touchdown to give the Chiefs 21-3, or the 14-3 lead. Just incredible. He was able to record touchdown passes in the first half to Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Mecole Hardman, and he went 18-21 for 220 yards. Just unstoppable. But in that first half, Burrow was also scrambling. He didn't do as well as Mahomes, wasn't as successful, but he was able to make some big plays, get some first downs, and I mean, his O-line was god-awful. It definitely needs some work. But this dude was able to stay confident and strong with a passing touchdown before the end of the half to make it 21-10. And then this Bengals stop at the 1-yard line to end the half was absolutely huge. It carried momentum into the second half, and they came away with only a 21-10 deficit when it could have been way worse than that. It would have been 28 points. Could have gotten a touchdown on that one play. And the second half was a complete turn of the tables for Cincy, and it all started with the big man, B.J. Will, and his interception against Patrick Mahomes. That was followed up by a Joe Burrow touchdown reception to Jamar Chase with a 2-point conversion. Bing bang, bing bong. We're tied 21-21. And this is where you pay your quarterback $500 million over 10 years because you want him to go make these plays. You want him to go down the field and score so your team can make it to the Super Bowl. But that was not Patrick Mahomes today. That was not Patrick Mahomes against the Bengals, but it was Joe Burrow. Patrick Mahomes on that last possession was not Patrick Mahomes. He did not look like himself. It was very uncharacteristic. But props to the Bengals defense for staying strong and staying in there. Props to you guys. Against a quarterback like Mahomes and an offense like Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and the stellar running backs in the backfield that are still improving every week, you did really good out there. But this possession was a catastrophe. We've got 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line, and Mahomes gets sacked for a loss of 5. That's already unacceptable. It's already unacceptable. You can't get sacked in that position. You had 2nd and 4. You're one of the best quarterbacks in the league with one of the best offensive weapons, a few of the best offensive weapons in the league. You need to score on that play, if not the next one. Then you got 3rd and goal from the 9-yard line, and Mahomes decided to run this ball out of the pocket back to the 24-yard line where he nearly fumbles, unless the ball was recovered by Joe Thuney, which luckily it was. Now they have the ball at the 26-yard line for a 40-yard field goal. Luckily they made it, but this went into overtime, and I mean, the Chiefs even won the toss. The Chiefs even won the toss in overtime, and Mahomes, he didn't look like himself. And his 3rd play, he sent a prayer to Tyreek Hill, and it ended up getting picked off by Von Bell. And I mean, you know the rest. Burrow stayed confident. He got in there. He made a few good passes. And Evan McPherson, he put it away. Now, it's time for some of my game takeaways. And here's the first thing I noticed. Patrick Mahomes was making the type of mistakes that we would expect a second-year quarterback like Joe Burrow to be making in that situation. He got ruffled by the defense, and because he got ruffled, he was not patient, he was not making good decisions, and he tried too many deep shots rather than trying the short stuff, gaining a little bit of yardage, and working your way down the field like you did so well in the first half. It just wasn't working out for them. And also, I'm not going to blame just Mahomes because that Chiefs defense needs some work, man. I mean, they only were able to record 1 sack on the same Bengals team that allowed 9 last week to the Titans. 9. And the Bengals outsacked you, too. The Bengals were able to get to Patrick Mahomes 3 times. That's not okay. They needed to put more pressure on Burrow as well, and they just weren't able to do it. He was able to escape. They were letting him escape. He was running for plays out of the pocket for 10, 15 yards for first downs. The Chiefs just could not contain Joe Burrow, and that was their downfall today. And let me say that the Bengals defense stepped up big time. You got 3 sacks on Patrick Mahomes, 2 interceptions on Patrick Mahomes, and a big stop at the end of the 2nd quarter, and a big stop at the end of the 4th quarter in order to make it go into overtime. I mean, the Bengals are an O-line and a few pieces on defense away from maybe being the unanimous best team in football. They've got the best wide receiver core in the NFL. You've got a number 1 in Jamar Chase, who has chemistry from Joe Burrow in LSU. Then you've got T. Higgins, who you drafted a year prior to Jamar Chase, who was a stud in Clemson. And then you've got Tyler Boyd, who you were basically grooming to be your first-string wide receiver. And he's your 3rd, and he could still be a first-string wide receiver on other teams. This Bengals team is scary, and everybody in the AFC should know it. Now let's take you over to Hollywood, where we got the Rams playing San Francisco, the visiting 49ers. And the Rams were able to get this win 20-17 in regulation to send Matthew Stafford to his first ever Super Bowl in his first year with Los Angeles. Now in the game, at the beginning, neither quarterback looked too great. On the 49ers' first drive, Jimmy Garoppolo missed maybe the easiest pass I've ever seen to George Kittle, the second best tight end in the entire NFL, which would have gained you 40, 50, maybe the entire way to the end zone. Then Stafford gets the ball, and on his second possession, he throws an interception at the San Francisco 49ers 3-yard line. You're giving up points, man. That's a mistake. That's going to cost you against the Bengals. The Rams started the second quarter, though, with a TD to Cooper Kupp to get things going, but from there, they didn't see scoring for a while. It was followed by a 44-yard touchdown by Deebo Samuel. Props to Deebo Samuel on that. It was a pass from Jimmy Garoppolo, but it was a little dump pass. Let me tell you, Jimmy G is not a great quarterback, and most of his yardage this season has been coming from Deebo Samuel on those little dump passes, little screen passes, something where he can pass right away and the wide receiver can go get the yards. But Deebo Samuel got the yards on that one. Props to him for that. 49ers went into halftime with a 10-7 lead and all the momentum. The Rams in the second half, they didn't start out too much better. On their first possession, they turned the ball over on downs when you had 2nd and 1. They had 2nd and 1, they run it with Cam Akers. They don't get it. Then they plan on passing it. They don't get it, and then Matthew Stafford tries a QB sneak. I think that play calling was all wrong. I think the run on 2nd and 1 with Cam Akers is okay. But Matthew Stafford is a big dude. You try the sneak on 3rd and 1, and if that doesn't work, you try it again on 4th. One of those times it's going to budge. You're going to hit one of the holes. You just got to believe in your quarterback, man. I don't agree with the play calling there. But that ended up leading to a Jimmy Garoppolo 13-yard touchdown pass to George Kittle, and that put San Francisco up 17-7. But this is where it turned around for Matthew Stafford, and Matthew Stafford understand that everything was on the line. The next drive was 7 plays, only 2 of them rushing, and those 2 rushing plays added up for a total of 2 yards. Matthew Stafford lit it up, and then he ended it with a 20-yard touchdown pass to his tight end, Kendall Blanton. And Jimmy Garoppolo, after this, couldn't execute at all, which I don't expect him to execute. Again, I'm not a favorite of him. He's not my favorite quarterback. I don't think he deserves a starting job. The Rams defense was able to put pressure on him later in the game, and I mean, regardless of the 0 sacks, they had an effect on Jimmy Garoppolo and making him get the ball out faster and make his throws even worse than they already are. And after 2 consecutive possessions of nothing for the 49ers, they found themselves down 20-17 with the ball back, and Jimmy Garoppolo showed exactly who he really, really was. He made bad decisions with the football on 1st and 2nd down, and on that 3rd possession, we hadn't heard Aaron Donald's name all day. All day he was quiet, but he's in there. He gets the forced throw up, and the Rams intercept it. They take the ball. Matthew Stafford knees. Game over. Let's have some takeaways from the game. Number 1, Jimmy Garoppolo is done in San Francisco. Now, as far as what I know and as far as what the media knows, him and San Francisco have already agreed to seek a trade partner. But before that news came out, I already knew he was done. He did not perform in any game during the postseason like a Super Bowl caliber quarterback would. He was okay against the Dallas, minus the interception. He was okay against the Rams, minus a few stupid plays. But he doesn't have the ability to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. He just doesn't have that spark, and the 49ers didn't have a chance coming into this game. But Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, they're going to be top 10 wide receiver duo in the next couple years. I see Deebo Samuel, he did way better this year. It was incredible that he could go from just a rookie to being almost a top 5 wide receiver in a single season. I mean, that is incredible. And Brandon Ayuk has some serious talent there. I think if they're able to develop him better, they're going to be a really, really good 1-2 duo for Trey Lance in the future. And also, the next one is that the Rams defense, they're the most experienced in the NFL, and they're going to make the plays when it counts. It all starts around that big dude, Aaron Donald in the middle. He's the best defensive player in the NFL, and when you're playing his team, you just have to change the way you play because of the way he plays. He changes everything. He's also got a supporting cast that has some experience in Jalen Ramsey. He's got playoff experience with the Jaguars and the Rams. Von Miller. He won a Super Bowl with the Broncos just 7 years ago. How about Eric Weddle? Bring a bunch of experience to this team. And also, Matthew Stafford, he just needs to fix his decision-making. He gets a little jumpy. I know he really, really wants that Super Bowl, but he's getting too jumpy. He has the talent to be a great quarterback. Honestly, if he wins his team the Super Bowl without making mistakes, I might put him in the top 5 of quarterbacks going into next season. But we'll just have to see, and he has to limit those unnecessary interceptions. It was a big problem in the regular season. It became a big problem in last game. Let's just calm down Matthew Stafford, and you could win your team a Super Bowl. Now, it's time for my Super Bowl prediction. I've got the Bengals 31-28. I'm done counting them out. I've counted them out every single week up to this one. Even against the Raiders, I was like, don't rule out the experience of Derek Carr. He's a good quarterback. He can maybe get it done. But I'm done counting them out. They're a good team, and the Bengals are going to get it done again this week at SoFi Stadium against the Rams. Stafford throws too many interceptions, and the Bengals defense has been stepping up because of that leader they have in Joe Burrow as a quarterback. They want to make him proud. They want to make him happy. They want to get him on the field where he has the motivation to score touchdowns, and that's exactly what they've been doing. And if Matthew Stafford keeps making these bad decisions and throwing the interceptions, the Bengals are definitely going to capitalize on that. And Burrow loves to take advantage of the defensive stops that his team gives him. And I'm just saying, if this game is close down the stretch, the Bengals are going to take it. The Bengals have this clutch factor about them this season that the Rams I just don't think have, and the Rams are going to have to take off with this one early and do what the Chiefs couldn't do, and that would be hold the lead, or else the Bengals are going to bring home their first Super Bowl since 1988. And I'll put a bow on it, because that's what I'm calling. And welcome to Luke's Parlay Lounge, where we talk about all of the sports bets that we won, lost, or are gonna win. Let's get it. Now, last night, we had a winning parlay, and I'm gonna go over that with you guys right now. I had Pelicans money line over the Pistons. Pelicans were expected to lose this game. Pistons were the favored team. Brandon Ingram went in there. He had 26 points. Jonas Valanciunas came in there and got 13 rebounds, and the Pelicans were able to get it done. I had the Bulls on an 8.5 point spread over the Bulls. Over the Magic. I'm sorry. Over the Magic. They ended up winning by 11, which covered the spread, and DeMar DeRozan had a 29-point game and 10 rebounds, which is double-double. Georgetown plus 7.5 versus Seton Hall, and let me tell you, Georgetown lost by 7, and I could not be happier because it covered, and I'm lucky. Next one, Auburn minus 6.5 versus Alabama, and they won by 19. Auburn's a good basketball team. Give them some credit this year. Providence money line over St. John's. Providence was not the favorite. They went to St. John's for this one, and they were trailing by 2 with just a couple minutes left in this one. They ended up winning by 4 and getting me my money. And last but not least, always put your money on the Suns. They're the best team in basketball this year. They won by 10 over the Nets, and it was a Nets team without Kevin Durant, but it was still a Nets team, and they still got the win. We bet $3 last night, paid off $149. Now I've got 2 parlays for you guys today that just might as well hit, so let's get into it. The first one here, I've got $5 stake, and it'll win $53 on a 4-leg parlay for the NBA. We've got the Pacers on a money line over the Magic. Utah Jazz minus 1.5 versus the Nuggets. Cavaliers minus 3.5 at the Rockets, and Lakers minus 3.5 versus the Trailblazers. Next, we've got another one for you, and it's a 6-legger. Get a little bit of extra money for you. I put a stake up of $3.16 on this one, possibility to win $122.56. I've got East Carolina's money line versus Temple, which is a plus 100, which would be a parlay booster. I've got the Grizzlies money line in New York against the Knicks. I've got the Celtics money line against the Hornets. Northern Iowa money line versus Bradley University. Dayton money line at VCU plus 155 as a parlay booster. And Nets minus 4.5 after their loss to the Suns yesterday in Sacramento at the Kings. Those are my bets today. Let's go make some money. And that's it. Just like that, that's the first episode for the Millennial Playbook gang. Make sure to go ahead and drop a comment on the video if you haven't already, and also plan to subscribe in order to see all the new content as it comes out. I'm also very active on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, so if you'd like to follow me on any of those, just go ahead and click the link in the bio, and it'll take you right over to one of my pages. Thank you guys all so much. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys next time.
So we gon' fight till the sun goes down. We'll try the best that we